In this episode, we're diving headfirst into the wonderful, messy, and ever-evolving world of child development and parenthood, with a special focus on fatherhood and single moms. So dads, this one's for you. Moms, lend an ear. And if you're a single mom, especially pay attention. We are going to dive into the child's mental development and tips to becoming a great parent. By the end of this episode, I promise you will pick up some great tips for supporting your kids in this incredible journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let's get started. First and foremost, being a dad is an amazing privilege. And if you're a single mom, more power to you. But it can also feel overwhelming. Whether you're new at being a parent, holding your precious little bundle for the first time, a seasoned pro navigating the teenage years, deep breaths, or a dad who had a falling out and want to rebuild their relationship with their children, there's always something to learn, some challenge to overcome. Today, we'll explore some practical advice, share some real dad experiences, and moms too, and hopefully offer a dose of encouragement for fathers and single moms at every stage. But before we go there, let's talk about something that kids go through. There are many studies that give decent understanding, but the one specific psychologist who has laid out the foundation of understanding was Piaget. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist known for his groundbreaking work in the field of child development. Now, some say John, but I think it's Jean Piaget. Dr. Piaget proposed a theory of cognitive development that recognized our understanding of how children learn and grow. His theory emphasizes the importance of children's active participation in constructing their understanding of the world around them. Piaget identified 4 major stages of cognitive development, each characterized by the distinct ways of thinking and understanding. So I'm going to break this down. Sensorimotor stage, that's birth to 2 years old. During this stage, infants learn about the world primarily through their senses and motor activities. They explore objects by touching, tasting, smelling, and grasping. You see this when you carry a baby or a baby that's just a few months old, and they're always grabbing or they're putting stuff in their mouth, or where they have the toys that have different types of feelings, that's crunchy or smooth. That's the reason why. Object permanence develops during this stage, which is an understanding that objects continue to exist even when they're out of sight. For example, the peekaboo game, or knowing that you put a toy down, you walk away, you come back, and the toy should be there. These are also part of the developments. And by the end of the sensory motor stage, infants begin to engage in symbolic play and develop a rudimentary problem-solving abilities. That's your blocks, putting in the proper block in the proper hole, if you will. Then comes the pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years old. In the pre-operational stage, children develop the ability to use symbols and language to represent objects and ideas. However, their thinking is still egocentric, meaning they struggle to see things from perspectives other than their own. So they're selfish, but they just don't understand. It takes time. Children in this stage are also prone to animus. It's an attribute, attributing human-like qualities of inanimate objects. So their play, it's their, things seem real to them, like their teddy bear, things like that. And they exhibit intuitive rather than logical reasoning and may struggle with conversation tasks, such as understanding the quantity of a substance remains the same even when its shape changes. So they're still trying to figure out, and they will probably not understand logic. So trying to have conversation about logic, although healthy, because they'll get used to it, doesn't, don't lose your patience. It's just that their brain's not there yet. So certain things, um, I think the best way to put it is they're still in fantasy land. So when they're age 2 to 7, they do not understand. They do not understand the pre-operational stage. In short, they don't understand um, sex or gender, and I know that sounds controversial, but this is Jean Piaget. This is not me speaking it. This is the study, and the study is foundational in psychology. They don't understand certain concepts. They may say they're a unicorn or a dog, and they will act as such. Again, that's their pre-operational stage. They're figuring things out. Now comes the concrete operational stage. This is between the ages of 7 and 11. During this concrete operational stage, children begin to think more logically and systematically around the world. They develop the ability to perform mental operations such as addition, subtractions, and classifications. Children in this stage also demonstrate conservation skills and can understand concepts like reversibility and seriation. However, their thinking is still limited to concrete, tangible experiences, and they may struggle with abstract or hypothetical situations. So when you talk to them, when they're between 7 and 11, you're really talking to them and you're trying to put things in their experiences rather than hypotheticals or what ifs, or because they're really still grasping that. So you got to bring it down to their world level when it comes to conversations, because they cannot grasp the outside of your town or city. They just can't. You can try, and some will grasp it. This is not concrete, set in stone. Oh yeah, you're 11 years old, but when you're 12 years old, you can perfectly understand it. No, they may understand it sooner rather than later. Again, a lot of this plays a role in the environment and culture, and I'll get to that in a moment. And then finally, there's the formal operational stage, adolescence and beyond. The formal operational stage marks the onset of abstract thinking and hypothetical reasoning. Adolescents develop the ability to think logically about abstract concepts and hypothetical situations. They can engage in deductive reasoning, hypothesis testing, and problem solving in more systematic and logical manner. This stage is characterized by increased cognitive flexibility and the ability to consider multiple perspectives. So, Piaget's theory of cognitive development highlights the active role of children in constructing their understanding of the world. He emphasizes the importance of hands-on experiences and interactions with the environment in promoting cognitive growth. While Piaget's theory has been influential, it is important to note that individual differences, traumas, environment, and cultural factors can also influence the child's development. So we have to keep that in mind. And keeping all those things in mind, we can lay some strong foundations of. Now I'm going to segue into building strong foundations. The early years are crucial for a child's development, and dads, moms play a vital role. Studies show that a strong parent-child bond contributes to a child's emotional well-being, self-esteem, and even academic success. Now, this doesn't mean dads or single moms have to be the primary caregivers. Teamwork is key. So, here are some ways you can build that strong foundation. 1, be present. Even in the early days with sleep deprivation, carve out dedicated time for just you and your child, skin-to-skin contact, singing silly songs, reading stories. These moments create lasting memories and foster a deep connection. 2, embrace diaper duty. I know, changing diapers isn't glamorous, but it's a sign of partnership and shows your child you're equally invested in their care. Plus, you might get a laugh or a spray along the way. And 3, be playful. Dads, I know many dads have a hard time with this, especially if you certain generations or how previous generations raised, like my generation, for example. But dads bring a unique energy to playtime, and single moms, I be playful, get down on the floor, build towers, wrestle gently, and encourage exploration. It's a fantastic way to bond and create happy memories. There's a relevant study by 0 to 3, a nonprofit focused on early childhood development titled Building Strong Foundations and Advancing Comprehensive Policies for Infants, Toddlers, and Families. It's the spelled out zero, ZEROTO, 3, THREE.org. So 0 to 3. This study emphasizes the importance of strong policies on programs that support families in the early years. It highlights how a solid foundation in infancy and toddlerhood contributes to a child's overall well-being, including emotional, social, and cognitive development. While the specific study, Building Strong Foundations, Advanced Comprehensive Policies for Infants, Toddlers, and Families by 0 to 3 focuses on policy recommendations, it does lay the groundwork for the importance of strong father-child bond in the years, or I should say parents. Here's how we can extrapolate its findings to support the concept of building strong foundations. Excuse me if I'm saying things wrong today. I am a little bit congested. I'm getting over being sick. So, with that being said, here are the 3. 1, focus on the first 3 years. The study emphasizes the critical nature of the first 3 years in a child's development. This aligns with the idea that strong father-child interactions during this period lay the foundation for future emotional, social, and cognitive well-being. 2, healthy development needs nurturing caregivers. The study highlights the need for families to have access to resources and support. A strong father-child bond is a form of nurturing care that contributes to a healthy development. And 3, investment in early childhood matters. The study argues for investments in programs and policies that support early childhood development. Strong fathers or father-like figures and moms to be a little, what's the word? The single moms being a little bit more of a balance, because you guys got it rough, and more power to you for all the single moms out there. But strong parent involvement can be seen as an investment in a child's future, similar to how the study advocates for investment in early childhood programs. So, with that being said, looking beyond the study, I'm going to give you a list of research and studies that you should be aware of. 1, the importance of fathers and the healthy development of children by the American Psychological Associations, the APA. This article highlights research showing that strong father-child bonds are associated with better cognitive functions, social skills, and emotional well-being in children. 2, the impact of father involvement on child development by the National Healthy Marriage Resource Center. This resource discusses research indicating that children that involve fathers tend to have higher academic achievement, better emotional regulation, and strong self-esteem. Now, I know I'm saying a lot about dads, but that's because regardless of where you stand ideologically, the studies, even former President Obama, have stated that there is a problem with the lack of fatherhood. You do not have to be the biological father to be a dad. So, uncles can play that role. Grandfathers can play that role. There are ways for people to really get engaged and be figures. Single moms, I feel you. I feel the balance. I mean, just imagining um, me trying to take care of my kids alone that's rough. So, it's an obstacle, and my heart goes out to you. But don't worry. I didn't forget some of the other stuff that I promised I would talk about regarding late childhood. I know I've been talking about the early stuff, but now I'm going to get to that in a few moments. But with that being said, let me get back to it. Communication is key. As children grow, communication becomes ever so important. Here's how dads can foster open communication. 1. Active listening. Put down the phone, make eye contact, and truly listen to what your child has to say, big or small. Open-ended questions. That's number 2. Go beyond yes or no. Ask questions that encourage them to express their feelings and thoughts. And number 3, be a safe space. Let your child know they can come to you with anything, without judgment. This builds trust and helps them navigate the complexities of life. And I'm going to elaborate this. It comes down to building trust and connection. Open communication fosters a safe space where children feel comfortable sharing their thoughts, feelings, and experiences with their dads or moms. This builds trust and strengthens the child and parent bond. Active listening shows children they are valued and heard. It allows dads to understand their children's perspective and respond thoughtfully. And that includes moms. I know I'm saying a lot of dads, but trust me, moms, this involves you too. This strengthens the connection and creates a sense of security. Now, promoting emotional intelligence. Communication helps children develop emotional vocabulary. By talking about emotions and experiences, dads can equip their children to identify and express their feelings in healthy ways. 2, it also opens communication, allows dads to model healthy coping mechanisms. By expressing their own emotions appropriately, dads can teach their children how to deal with difficult feelings in a constructive manner. Then there's supporting social development. Communication skills are essential for building positive relationships with others. By practicing communication with their dads, children learn valuable skills like taking turns, expressing needs assertively, and resolving conflict peacefully. Dads can use open communication to guide children's social interactions. They can discuss appropriate behavior in different situations and help children navigate social challenges. And then there's enhancing confidence and self-esteem. Many of our youth, and I see this in the school where I'm a principal, that many of our youth lack self-esteem to a point where they have their guards up. It's almost like a chip on their shoulder. Anything triggers them and they get irrational. That's a self-esteem issue. That's a confidence issue. That's not just look at me, I'm tough. It's more like you're hitting a soft spot and I don't like it internally. So it's a confidence issue. Positive and encouraging communication boosts children's confidence. When dads or moms listen attentively and offer support, children feel valued and capable. Open communication allows parents to provide constructive feedback. By discussing mistakes in a supportive way, dads can help, and moms, children learn and grow without damaging their self-esteem. And then there's fostering problem-solving skills. Communication is key to effective conflict resolution. By talking through problems with their dads, children learn to see things from different perspectives and develop problem-solving skills. Open communication allows parents to guide children in finding solutions to their problems. They can offer suggestions and support, empowering children to take ownership of their challenges. Remember, communication is a two-way street. It's not just about dads talking at their children or moms even talking at their children, because I've seen that also. It's about creating a space for open dialogue, active listening, and mutual understanding. Now, I am not saying that when they do something wrong, you don't correct it. I'm going to get to that in a second. What I am saying is that this kind of communication is an ongoing process that evolves as children grow, but it's an investment that pays off in a strong, healthy, and happy relationship between you, the parent, and the child. And now we're going to segue over to discipline with love. Discipline is an essential part of parenting, and parents obviously play a crucial role in setting boundaries. It's about nurture and structure. Now, here are some tips. Focus on teaching, not punishing. View discipline as an opportunity to teach your child valuable lessons about right and wrong, responsibility, and consequences. Explain why certain behaviors are unacceptable and how they impact others. This helps children understand the reasoning behind the rules and not just the fear of punishment. 2, develop a team approach. Discuss parenting philosophies with your partner and agree on consistent consequences. 3, positive reinforcement. Focus on praising good behavior rather than just punishing bad choices. This is hard for many cultures because there's a certain expectation. I get it. I come from a culture that does that. But catch your child being good. Acknowledge and praise positive behaviors. This reinforces good choices and motivates them to repeat those actions. Use a reward system for achieving goals or consistently following rules. This positive reinforcement encourages desired behavior without relying solely on punishment. Then there's natural consequences. When appropriate, let your child experience the nature of consequences of their action. Didn't pack a lunch, might be a hungry afternoon. It's not like they're going to starve to death. They didn't pack a lunch. It is what it is. Now they learned. And there's now, how do I put this? Fatherhood is more challenging than just changing diapers and setting boundaries. It's about nurturing and child's talents and interests. And I know a lot of that, not all that's clearly, but depending on your cultural background, I know I come from one, so, guilty as charged. That's not always the case. So, here are some tips. Share your passion. Share their passions. Share the passions. Whether it's sports, music, or building things, introduce your child to activities you enjoy, and you might create a lifelong shared interest. And be a role model. Lead by example. Show your children the importance of hard work, integrity, and respect for others. And embrace vulnerability. It's okay to show your emotions. Let your children see you cry, laugh, and experience all the facets of life and how you cope with it. Now, if you cope in a negative fashion and you know it's negative, don't do it. But it's a positive one. It's something you may want to share so that they can see. Age-appropriate techniques. So I'm going to slowly segue into something else. Now, we talked about Piaget, but I just want to lay some foundational stuff for you. Tailor your disciplinary approach to your child's age and development. Now, earlier we talked about Piaget's cognitive development. That's a thing that you have to consider. Simple explanations and timeouts work well with younger children, while reasoning and discussions become more effective as they mature. Remember, and this also with spankings. I mean, a little spank in the tush, some studies says it's okay, some studies say they don't. When they're very, very small, depending on your cultural, I'm not judging, I'm not saying anything that it's right or wrong. What I am saying is certain times as they develop, it may not work anymore. Maybe have to be something else. Taking away a cell phone might be more punitive than getting a physical, hitting the tush, if you will. Uh, so, so there you go. Those are things that you need to consider. And remember, please remember, you are not alone. Fatherhood, single moms can be very isolating at times. Reach out to other dads or single moms. Online communities, support groups, or just grabbing coffee with a friend. Sharing experiences, challenges, and victories can be invaluable. So do that. Be a community. Dads and single moms who may not have had that opportunity of being a parent as they were children, in other words, like basically you were out of the picture, or having a hard time communicating with a child, this is something that's for you if you're trying to get that communication going. It is important to seek understanding, and sometimes children may not be in the right frame of mind due to stress or trauma. When this is the case, there is a need that must be fulfilled, and you can contribute to that need. Maslow's hierarchy of thinking is something I'm going to get into. It is another psychological theory that has pretty much laid a foundation on the needs assessment. And when I get into this, I want you to have a clear understanding. Remember, we talked about Piaget's cognitive development. Now, I'm going to give you something a little bit different that connects very appropriately. So with that being said, let's talk about Abraham Maslow and the hierarchy of needs. One of the things you need to understand about the hierarchy of needs is that it works throughout your entire lifetime, not just for children, but also adults. And if you have been a parent that unfortunately under a certain because of life, you weren't actively there for your child, and now they're either late teens to even a young adult, and you want to be present, it is so important to understand the hierarchy of needs in order to try to build on that relationship. So with that being said, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory proposed by Abraham Maslow in 1943. It suggests that humans have a hierarchy of needs that must be fulfilled in a specific order to achieve self-actualization, or the realization of one's full potential. And this includes building trust in relationships. The hierarchy is often depicted as a pyramid with 5 levels, arranged from the most basic needs at the bottom to the highest needs at the top. So we're going to start from the bottom to the top. 1. Physiological needs. At the base of the pyramid are the physiological needs, which are the most fundamental requirements for human survival. These include air, water, food, shelter, clothing, and sleep. Without satisfying these basic needs, an individual cannot move up the hierarchy to fulfill higher level of needs. The second level, safety needs. Once the physiological needs are met, individuals seek safety and security. This includes physical safety from danger and harm, as well as financial security, stable employment, health, and protection from threats such as violence or natural disasters. In other words, it is the consistency of a certain structure. But remember, the physiological needs must be met first before we get there. And then after the safety needs comes love and belongingness needs. The next level of hierarchy involves the need for love, affection, and sense of belonging. This includes forming meaningful relationships with family, friends, and romantic partners, as well as feeling accepted and valued within social groups and communities. And then once that's met, esteem needs. After filling the need for love and belongingness, individuals strive for esteem needs, which includes both self-esteem and the esteem of others. This involves developing a sense of confidence, self-respect, and achievement, as well as receiving recognition, respect, and appreciation from others. And then there's self-actualization. That's the top of the hierarchy in self-actualization, which represents the realization of one's full potential and pursuit of personal growth, fulfillment, and purpose. Self-actualization, self-actualized individuals are motivated by a desire for personal development, creativity, autonomy, and a sense of meaning in life. Now, let me give you an example. If a person, a child, a young adult feels like you're not consistent, there's no safety. The safety is not there. And no, it's a danger, but you're an outsider. You're not a normal person in their own world, in their own small world. So the love and belongingness cannot happen unless the safety needs or the consistency of being safe is present. The same as if you are, like I tell my teachers, how can we build up on the safety when the idea of them not knowing if they're going to have food is not present? How can we have the children involved in their learning? They're not there yet. So we provide lunches and meals and make sure they are well fed. And then we're there, consistently there. We redirect them when they're misbehaving different ways. That's a very polite way of me saying it. And then there's us acknowledging and making sure they are heard and they're protected. And that's when the next step of loving and belonging comes in, where they want to be at the schools or they want to be at that certain place. So that's how I teach my teachers. And I want you to understand that as well, because it's not just about the schools. I know I'm mentioning as an example, but it's also in their homes. So these are the steps that need to be met in order for self-actualization. Now, according to Maslow, individuals progress through these levels of needs in a sequential order, and lower levels needs take precedence over higher level needs, like I said earlier. Once a lower level need is sufficiently satisfied, it no longer serves as the primary motivator, and individuals can focus on fulfilling higher level needs. However, it is important to note that individuals may move back and forth between levels of the hierarchy, and the fulfillment of needs is influenced by various factors such as culture, personality, and life circumstances. Maslow's hierarchy of needs remains a wide recognized and influential theory in the field of psychology, education, business, and personal development. So with that being said, in your own home, there are certain things that need to be met in order to truly develop your child. And sometimes, and I know from this recording, 2024, it's economically difficult for many of the Western countries. I know it's hard, like when the supermarket prices and you're having a hard time with grocery bills. But as long as you have a support, or you can find support where the physiological and safety needs can be met, all these other things, you have the power to really develop that. So keep that in mind. And if you've been estranged from your child, they may have all of these satisfied in their home, but not satisfied at all with you. Now, I know that's a big pill to swallow, but we have to swallow it, especially if you've been estranged from your child and you want to be part of that life. certain things need to be met before we can go into love and belonging, before we get into esteem, and before we get into self-actualization, where you can have conversations and help them develop it. They are motivated by creativity, autonomy, and able to build from there on their own. So you need to keep that in mind. Dads, moms, you hold an incredible power to shape your child's life. There will be mistakes, meltdowns, and moments of pure exasperations. No one's perfect. And as a dad, I can honestly say I am not perfect. With all this knowledge, I still fall short many times. But there will also be laughter, heartwarming moments, and the love so profound it takes your breath away. Embrace the journey. Be present, be loving, and enjoy the incredible ride of being a parent. So, like, share, subscribe for more Thinking to Think. I am M.A. Aponte. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.